So I want to talk about leveraging your buying power as a first time buyer. Maybe you don't have a lot of capital. So one of the things I did to lower my out of pocket expenses so that I could buy, because there are a lot of buyers like me in my age range, millennials, and the up and coming Gen Z generation. So you have we are working diligent. We have the credit, but we don't have tens of thousands of dollars, right? So if you have the credit, but you're just trying to build up some down payment, and you're thinking or assuming that you need 20% down or 10% down, talk to a lender first. But also remember that you can leverage your negotiating power with the seller. So often what I've done with my buyers is instead of, because everybody assumes that real estate negotiations are you start low and then you meet somewhere in the middle. That's not always the case. Sometimes that can happen, but for someone like me that needed, a cash assistance from the seller, I said, hey, I looked at the nearby surrounding homes. I could tell it was going to appraise for what they had it listed for. They had already dropped the price of my home. Well, it wasn't my home yet, but I said, hey, you know what? I'll go ahead and give you what you're asking for now. But in return, I'd like you to give me $10,000 towards my closing costs. And, it makes sense for the seller. They're like, yeah, they may have expected an offer to come in a little bit lower, but in this case, it's still somewhat in line with what they may have expected, right? So, assuming everything is perfect though. So this really only works if the property appraises at value, or maybe even it appraised for a little bit higher. And as long as the repairs or based on the inspection is as expected, right? So as long as I didn't uncover anything crazy in the inspection, I was fine to proceed pretty much as is. Unless there was something crazy, then we had to revisit that. But as long as I didn't have to go move in the home and do some major repairs, it was move-in ready for me with a few little odds and ends that I can do on my own down the line that weren't urgent or pressing right then. It made sense for me to, instead of negotiating money off of the sales price, because I'm probably going to sell the house before 30 years. Who stays in the house that long? Some people do, but not everybody does. So this is a way I call it my millennial house hack. So for a lot of new buyers, some don't know that this is a possibility. It's a different way of thinking about things. It's a different strategy. But yeah, you can have the seller help bridge that gap so you can buy sooner.